right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Tailgating. I'm Marcus, along with my man Bruce and Daryl. And here on Tailgating, you probably noticed that it's spelled a little differently. We tell our tales about our favorite sports teams, our favorite sports players, sports eras, all kind of things. Now, we usually don't agree on anything, and that's okay. We're still going to have a healthy debate. All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about basketball. So before I talk about my favorite team and my favorite era, Bruce, what about you? How you feeling about basketball? Who's your favorite team?
Well, my favorite team, of course, is Dallas Mavericks. Rooted for them from day one, rooted for Brad Davis, rooted for all these players, but of course, Dirk Nowitzki, brought us that championship. How do you not root for Dirk?
What's your problem with Dirk?
I love him.
Oh, I think
how do you not? How
okay.
did I say that? Anyway, how do you not like Dirk?
Everybody likes him. He's sound, man. Big fundamental.
Yeah.
What about you, Daryl?
H-Town Rockets.
Oh, man. See, you over here trying to steal my thunder, man, like you're Thor or something, man. This is my hammer. You cannot touch my hammer. I'm going to talk about my favorite team, and that is the Houston Rockets. I'm going to talk about my favorite period, and that is their championship years in the early to mid-'90s when Olajuwon, Akeem the Dream Baby was there. Now, before I go into it, that's right, D, before I go into it, there's a big debate out there. A lot of people say that the only reason the Rockets won those two championships is because Mr. Michael Jordan was retired, and I call BS on that all day long. I call BS on that all day long, and I'll tell you exactly why. When you think about the squad that they had, Olajuwon, Kenny Smith, Vernon Maxwell, Otis Thorpe, who am I missing? And Olajuwon himself.
Sam Cassell, Robert
Horry.
That's a team.
That was a squad. I feel like if that Bulls team matched up against the Rockets team of that era, the Rockets still would have won those two championships. But let me kind of ask you guys, like, how do you guys feel? Do you feel like if Michael Jordan had just won, 91, 92, 93, right? That team seemed invincible at the time. Olajuwon, as you know, that team was up and coming. They were still, finding their groove, but they were definitely contenders. Do you feel like the Rockets would have won against Michael Jordan?
I think they split the season series, all those seasons leading up to that.
Okay.
Of course, you play them twice a season, or play each other twice a season, and I just don't like it because my thing is, in a professional sport of any kind, you don't know who's going to win until you line them up and they play.
Mm-hmm.
You got to play it.
Right, and I mean, just really think about it. I mean, how many times have the Longhorns beat somebody and they were supposed to lose? Like every single game, which I win a few here and there. Right?
Okay, now you going for blood right about now. So I'm gonna hold that, put that on hold for right now. What about you, Bruce? Do you think the Rockets would have beat the Bulls?
Well, it'd been a fun game, wouldn't it? But the hard part for me is, and it's the fun part of sports. I mean, you like to say what ifs all the time, right?
Right.
But it didn't happen. Houston won it fair and square, legit. I mean, to me, it's very. I was rooting for the Lakers. With Magic was on the team.
Okay.
And the first time in the championship game, they were playing the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Magic was hurt, and I think it was Byron Scott was hurt too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if those two guys had been healthy, I think Lakers win. And then Jordan has one less victory. Magic has one additional victory. But it didn't happen that way. They were hurt. They couldn't go on. So, I mean, we like to do it. I like to do it, but I think it's legit. And if they had played together, I think Houston wins.
Yeah, I mean, here's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know. I mean, if you're a sports fan, you know this, right? But Michael Jordan and Akeem Olajuwon were in the exact same draft that year. I think it was like the 1984. And Akeem Olajuwon, who was already a local Houston hero, he had rose to prominence with the Houston Cougars, UT Cougars. So remember, like Phi Slamma Jamma, that's all Akeem Olajuwon. So Houston said, hey, we're bringing our boy home here into the NBA. But they could have had Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan could have been a Houston Rocket, but the Houston Rockets decided to go with Akeem Olajuwon. So just a fun fact. Obviously, we know Jordan went number 3 to the Bulls, and the rest is history. The reason I say, when you think about I'm thinking about basketball or just any sports, and it's all about matchups, right? You had Michael Jordan, but you also had Vernon Maxwell, and we know Mad Max was a little crazy, but the guy was a solid defender. So I'm not going to say he would have stopped Michael Jordan, But what was their answer for Akeem Olajuwon in the paint?
They didn't have one, but what they did do, when they played against the Rockets, one thing that they did, and I couldn't understand why we didn't counter their attack. What they would do is they would pick on our point guard, which was Matt Maloney.
Yeah.
And this is the years when I think after Michael Jordan came back from his little 2-year break.
Yeah.
They that's how they challenged us. They disrupted the flow of our offense because they picked on Matt Maloney. They would send Jordan and Pippen on a double team to Maloney. And that just threw the whole offense off.
Exactly. But I'm thinking about the matchups, I just don't see an answer for Akeem Olajuwon. Dennis Rodman was there for the second three-peat. So now you're talking about Pippen, Jordan. You had Steve Kerr. You had some really good people on that team.
Tony Kukoc.
Was Tony there for the first three or the second three? I don't think he was there for the first three.
See, I don't remember.
You mentioned a few moments ago, Bruce, and I would love to get your perspective on this. Scottie Pippen almost took the Bulls to the championship. I want to say it was in '95, right? So not the next year Jordan left, or maybe it was the year after. But do you feel like Jordan would have won those championships without Scottie Pippen? Because Scottie's being real vocal right now, especially on like social media, saying that Michael Jordan wasn't all he was cracked up to be. And there are people out there that are saying, and I don't know who these people are, but they feel like Scottie Pippen was just as an elite of a player. And I do remember Scottie Pippen. He took the Bulls to the Eastern Conference Finals one of those years Jordan wasn't there.
And if Pippen want to talk about how Jordan wasn't all that he was cracked up to be, you know, first of all, it's a team game, and he had a great team. And yeah, of course, they almost went to the finals without Jordan. It was a great team. Okay, yeah. But let's not forget that just a couple of seasons later, we got Pippen in Houston. And he did nothing. It looked like he didn't know what a basketball was.
Barkley was going after him, wasn't he?
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
God, remember that? Yeah. I forgot all about that. They kind of built like their own little dream team, right? Because you had Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler and Barkley. And then you had another mixture where it was Olajuwon, Barkley, and Pippen. It's like, wow, I forgot about that, man. Talk about like, Voltron and just kind of building like that super team.
Yeah. And think about that. With that super team, Scottie Pippen didn't show up.
Yeah.
He just did not show up.
Yeah. I think the way I think about it is Michael Jordan had just left, but the DNA to win was already encoded into that team. So even with him leaving, that squad that remained, they knew what it took to win a championship. And I think that was a major contributing factor in terms of why they were able to exceed and excel so far.
Now, what I think Pippen should have done, during that time period, Pippen made a funny commercial with Nike, There was an Air Jordan. Jordan's not here anymore. Where's the Air Pippen? And so I think if he would go about it being a little bit funny, it would soften the blow of what he's trying to say. I think he's kind of going over the top a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely a little angry right about now. I've seen some recent things.
But isn't he still listed as one of the top 50 players of all time?
Oh, I think they expanded it to the 75 now.
Well, whatever it is.
He's still in there.
He's still in there. I think they had to reshuffle once we got to like the 75 because that's a whole nother story. We're going to save that for our next episode. But listen, these are the types of tales that we're going to be telling here on Tailgating. So if you like what you heard, please go to the comment section. Leave your comments. Do you want to hear more about the Jordan era of basketball? Are there other players you want to talk about? We don't even have to talk about basketball. We can talk about soccer, football. We can talk about baseball, whatever you want to. Make sure you leave comments, like, and subscribe, and we will definitely be back. I'm Marcus on behalf of my man Daryl and Bruce. See ya.